to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm Rob, with a special guest coming over here. Look,
I did the wrong way, too. That mirrored image will get you every time there. But, yeah, guys, we do have Bobby Skinner here from Giants Nation. What's up, Bobby?
What's going on, dude? First day of training camp. Congrats on the milestone for you guys.
Appreciate it.
Joined you guys for a long time and excited to be a part of it.
So as he was alluding to, today is a milestone for those who may have just popped in and be unaware. 500 podcast episodes that Rob and I have done now on this show. Now, some of them were audio only in the beginning, so we're kind of cheating in the beginning there because we didn't know what we were doing.
Same with my old show that we were audio only in the beginning too.
Yeah, we did we started in 22, right in August of 22. So we did the one good season we had a show for. We wasted all that video potential and just did audio only and got on right as the season ended in the video stuff there. So, but yeah, guys, we do want to give a quick thank you to everybody who's been with us, who's been following us, supporting us. You know, like I said, every year the show just grows and grows, and it's much appreciation to everybody. And whether you're here from the get-go, or you've been here just fresh and new, support is very much appreciated. Bobby can attest that. I'll tell you point blank, you'll probably never pretty much find a content creator who gets paid what they should do for their time. That's just life. You know, we do it because we love it, and we appreciate everybody who's been a part of the Goofball Army here and gotten everything rolling and being part of the show, whether it's live, whether it's on audio, whether it's watching clips afterwards. Like I said, definitely appreciate you guys.
Much thanks.
Let's stop kissing your butts, though. Before we get going here, Bobby, we got to give a little congratulations to you because since last time we have talked to you, you got the new show, obviously, which is boom, took off like a bat out of hell, basically, which I fully expected because you're just, again, not to kiss your butt now too, but you've always been good at everything you do, man. And also you got married since last time we talked as well, so I gotta give you congrats on that as well. So
thank you. I think it both happened within 1 month too.
Yeah.
So it was like, hey, you got married. Now let's start a whole new venture. So we're getting on the exciting stuff done in the 2025 years, but appreciate you guys.
Yeah, no, definitely big thing, that's for sure. Yeah. So all right, guys. So we're going to go over a couple of things here. We're going to have Bobby on to talk specifically about training camp there. As you all know who listen to his show or watch his show, that he is there for training camp doing his show from a school bus. It's like, is that a full on? I didn't see the outside. Is it a full on school bus, Bobby?
It's a short bus, which fits me well. But it is a legitimate bus. Like they've got it decked out on the inside. I got to give it a better tour for tomorrow. A listener, his name's Mark. Yeah, he bought it for tailgates, and he's like, I'm not going to be using it until then. Like do it for your show. So
that's awesome.
It's sick. We had the setup today. I did that wheel spinner giving away stuff, and we had to just say no more because we had a line out through the parking lot basically of people trying to get some free stuff. We had to shut it down.
Oh, that's awesome.
So is it school bus yellow or did you deck it on Giants blue?
Oh, it's not even just Giants blue. Like it has detailed photos, has the Super Bowl trophies on it. It's honestly amazing that they put all that on a bus.
That is. I saw the interior only of the show today you did today, and yeah, that was awesome. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Especially to go out and actually change the logo, put the Giants logo all in the interior and everything. That's detail.
I would have taken a yellow bus with the windows busted out, and this thing is just decked
with the business seatbelts.
All right, so let's get talking about the actual training camp itself here. I wanted to start off talking about the injuries here, though, because we got some updates obviously going on with a lot of the injuries. So obviously, at the start of camp, they always announce who's going to start off on the PUP list there. Andrew Thomas did start on there. I don't think that was necessarily a huge surprise. There was a story out that he wouldn't even guarantee himself available for week 1, obviously not too long ago. Eric Gray also on the PUP list as well, which is pretty much bad news for anybody not named anybody who's named Eric Gray there. I mean, let's be honest here. Eric Gray is going to be fighting for a roster spot. Like the guarantee time for him as a draft pick is over. When you could throw in the mix of obviously Tracy, Motor, and Scadaboo, unless you keep a 4th one, that's a hard road for him to be traveling down. And I think we all know that special teams is probably not going to get him there anymore. Like, I think we've learned that's not the right move for him at this point, right? I mean,
no, I mean, Eric Gray has a huge fumbling issue. He can't block. Even though there has been like little spurts from, like, I kind of like him as a one cut and go runner, but he was always the last man out, and his only shot to the roster, in my opinion, was for one of those other guys to get injured. So him being on the PUP, it just really seems like it doesn't even allow him to fight to have people to arguably have that 4th running back spot, because there's going to be other guys ahead of him, that are ready to go.
Yeah, I'm still hoping for Turbo. I'm a big Turbo guy. I'm really looking forward to seeing if he gets a little more of a shot this year. And I'd be curious to see. I know I didn't necessarily do it in college. Like to throw something to somebody in the pros for the very first time. But the way that kid moved in college, the agility he has, I've always wondered about him as a returner. And
he sure as hell's got the straight line speed too. Like he's got the nickname for a reason. Ran a 4.2 40. He really hasn't, outside last year's preseason, got to actually like carry a ball in game action, and it was such a long time because he missed a year at South Carolina. He had the 1 year where he carried the ball like 3 times. It's been since he was at Columbia where he's really gotten a chance, again, outside of preseason action last year.
Yeah. And he didn't look too bad, but Eric Gray didn't look bad either. So what does that say?
Yeah, Eric Gray's been amazing in preseason. I think he's had like 2 52-yard runs over the last 2 years in preseason games.
Also, Webb looked great in preseason. So
Webb was the MVP of the preseason a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Didn't he lead the NFL in passing yards that preseason in 22?
Yeah,
he did.
Granted, they just threw the ball on every down there. I know Alex Bachman led in receiving that year.
Yeah, exactly. And then got cut anyway. Yeah. So, yeah, tells you what the preseason counts for. Now, otherwise, good news-wise, the big one, great news, Malik Nabers is set to be practicing fully with no restrictions whatsoever. Obviously, I would not be shocked at all to see the Giants slow him down just a little bit during practice. He's just so important to this team, and that foot injury has been lingering back to the LSU days at that point. They're not going to risk him, obviously, but they're still going to put him out there, obviously. He's got to develop chemistry with Russell Wilson. That's a big thing this year, obviously. New quarterback, throwing a completely different angle because he's about half a foot shorter than quarterbacks he's used to at this point. It's like there is a difference, obviously, when you get a new quarterback in there. But
getting timing down is, obviously going to be important with him. Even if he didn't practice a single practice, he would still put up numbers. But I will say, I talked about this with Novo on our live stream today. I feel like Nabers was the player of practice, and I didn't even think about him just because he's just like so clearly that type of player where it's just like, oh yeah, he had 2 touchdowns, like 3 catches. Where if any other player had the day he had, like, oh my gosh, look at this guy, maybe out for a breakout year. And then with Nabers, like, oh yeah, he's just awesome. It's boring at this point.
Yeah, it's like he's the dude. Like, we know it's going to happen. I mean, what he could do this whole offseason until going into the regular season is just working on his tempo with the Russ. Like, just literally just doing strides. He doesn't really need anyone out there. Learn your strides and go out there.
Yeah. And that stuff matters.
Yeah. He needs to know Russ needs to know how Nabers runs, and like Nabers needs to know how Russ throws a deep ball. Like, is it going to be like a little over the shoulder? Is it going to be a little off the side? Like, kind of learn how to catch. Like, do I have to, what do we have to do? Like, does he have to turn around real fast or?
Yeah.
It's like throwing with DJ.
Yeah, and I'd be kind of curious, Russ also giving him a little bit of pointers too. Russ obviously worked with a lot of great receivers in Seattle. The one thing I think with Nabers he could improve a little bit is just slightly on his route running, just a little bit of the cuts, a little bit on the change of directions there. And, obviously, with guys like Lockett and Metcalf Russ worked with some great receivers there over in Seattle. Even if you want to give a little bit, maybe a smidge of credit to Percy Harvin too, it wasn't too bad there in his stretch there too. He definitely could be a little help with that too as well. So, rookie running back Cam Scattaboo, defensive tackle Darius Alexander, who both missed practices, they're full, ready to go as well too. I'm definitely excited to see Darius Alexander of those two. I know Scattaboo's the bigger name because of the position he plays, but Alexander has an opportunity to be a big time impact player in this defense if he's as good as I think he's going to be this year.
Yeah, we won't have too many takeaways until they put the pads on for those two guys, defense tackle, running back. But Alexander, I don't like to put too much pressure on a third-round rookie, but he kind of has to win that starting job at defensive tackle, because if he doesn't, it's like, what's going on? None of these other guys have any pass rush value, and you got some decent run defenders, but not talking about world beaters like in Nacho or Jeremiah Ledbetter. So he kind of has to step in and be that guy. Now, he doesn't have to be what the defensive line revolves around when there's going to be better players than him on the field with him. 3 at a time with, the other guys, but he's got to do that. And Scattaboo, I'm excited for as well too. Today is you see guys in person for the first time, and Scattaboo is not like this imposing figure. He's 5'9", but if there's one thing, it's like we were just looking at it, and no Diddy, we're just like look at his legs. His legs are just way bigger than everybody else's by a wide margin.
Yeah, I heard a couple people say that as well. Almost like, not to the same extent, but almost like the reaction people had. Remember that when was it the first pitch at Yankee Stadium that Saquon did his rookie year, and people took that photo and you saw.
I can see it in my head already. Yeah. Well, he's just got those, and he's just got those bigger legs. And we did our player profile episode from today. It'll come out next week. And somebody said in our draft stream, it's like he runs like an alligator, and it's like the most true thing I've ever heard.
It's amazing. It's a great phrase.
I want to know
who's probably legs.
I've used it like 10 different times.
Yeah.
And then we do got one last guy as well. I briefly mentioned, because he's been injured basically the whole entire offseason, but Victor Dumukeje, the outside edge rusher we got from the Cardinals this offseason, also still injured. So he's on the non-football injury list from his torn pec he had back in March during offseason workouts. Nice depth piece, but again, I don't want to focus too much. I think we know what he is at this point. There, he's a backup edge rusher, which is still important. Don't get me wrong, but not nearly the importance of the guys we just listed there. Obviously, especially Nabers, Thomas, the big guys there.
So, yeah, Thomas is obviously the big one. I mean, we've seen how the offense can just really be a struggle bus without him. But I think sometimes when we talk about Thomas, we talk about what the team looks like without him. And because the offense hasn't really been good, but he raises the to be able to just be like, hey, our left tackle just blocks guys one-on-one and he doesn't lose. That's such an advantage, where you're like, all right, we don't have to give running back help, tight end help here. We just add someone else out into the route. Our quarterback's not worried about getting the ball swiped out of his hand, every other pass. They need him. And it's not just because of the disaster it is without him, but how much he can allow you to, play comfortable football with him.
Yeah. And we talked on our show plenty of times. It's like you see the drop off when he got hurt. It was like the Giants, and people love to trash the offensive line because they've been bad the last 5 decades, it feels like. But before he got hurt, this was an average offensive line he was playing. The rankings weren't nearly as bad. And then he got hurt. And it's like everybody just fell off a cliff together.
Yeah, and credit to the Giants a little bit where it didn't fall off the way it had in past years, where it's just like, this is untenable. But it certainly wasn't good. But yeah, like you said, with Thomas, you had Illuminor who was playing well, and then the interior guys, none of them were great, but they're at least guys who know where they're supposed to be on every play, and that's half the battle on the interior, is just blocking the right guy. And they were holding their own. So at the time the quarterback had decent protection, good receivers. If you can get that, and hopefully the quarterback, whoever it is, Russ, Jameis, or Dart, they can make the most out of that.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about day one here at camp. And we did, of course, have to make a fun little image for this. All the Giants at camp there they are. Bobby, of the three of us, you're the one who was actually physically there. So take it away. Let us know your thoughts, what you saw.
Well, people want to hear about Jaxson Dart because if I wasn't at training camp, guess what I would want to hear about Jaxson Dart? That does that mean we got to overreact? No, but that's what we want to hear about is Jaxson Dart. He looked really bad in his first day. And I understand it's the first day when I say that, but he did look really bad. And the larger point I want to make with that is the fact that we all talk about he should sit, right? He should sit and learn. Well, there's a reason why he should sit and learn because he's not ready. And this is what not ready looks like. This season is about getting ready. It's not about, like he wasn't going to light up training camp and be like, oh, yep, now he's got to sit and be ready. If he was a player who was going to do that, and like that would be a guy that you're looking to play early on in the season. So he's just not ready, right? They're in the red zone running a lot of quick game stuff. He's late. He holds onto the ball way too long. They did not run a lot of that stuff at Ole Miss. He's got to learn. When they expand the field, you might see Dart flourish a little more. That's, or at least that you would hope so. But the reality is, I think it was a good reality check for anybody who might have been, getting a little, too high on their own supply with, drafting Dart and nothing bad happens for 2 months after that. This is what not ready looks like. And it's about getting ready. So that's it. But he did struggle, right? He just seemed late on everything, had a bad, fumbled snap, threw that pick six to Nick Jones where he's just kind of staring him down. Nick Jones has read his eyes, jumps it. So, it is what it is. Like, that's obviously the takeaway. But Russ, I'll say with Russ, he looked pretty decisive. And if what he was looking for wasn't there, what Russ is good at is getting to the check down, even if he has to scramble and maneuver a little bit to get to that check down. So it doesn't always look pretty, sometimes he'll even turn his back to the downfield just to check it down, but he knows where his guys are. You can't play like that every week and be super successful, but it can get you through a season and be a playoff team like the Steelers were with Russ last year.
Yeah, and the Steelers with Russ was just a weird thing altogether with the lack of receivers, obviously, and the issues he had with the offensive coordinator. I don't want to say I have extremely high hopes for Russell Wilson. I mean, we've seen him now a couple of years away from Seattle, where I think we know what he is. But I just think, even as an average quarterback, that's just going to be an amazing thing to have for the Giants, considering what we dealt with the last few years with.
And I hate saying that too, because it's like, you know what, we used to win Super Bowls, and now we're just like begging for average at so many positions. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I wouldn't just love for there to be, have an average unit on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah, well, that and what's going with the defense, you would think average offense, and if the defense does what we think they could do potentially, you have a above average team. And I can't remember the last time that I've said we have an above average team in the New York Giants. Even 22, we weren't even sure what the hell we really even had till the end. And a lot of that we know was kind of fool's gold because they were playing horrible defenses, and the Colts and the Vikings made them look a whole lot better in the end of the year. But we haven't had an above average team in the Giants in that. I can't remember when. It's got to be.
It's got schedule where if they do it, they certainly earned it. There's no talk about weak schedule or they won a bunch of one score. No, they went out and did it. So, it's a big year for the Giants. I really think so. They're going to be faced with some tough, or hopefully they're not faced with tough decisions. Hopefully all this goes really well, and the decisions are easy. But
or they're faced with good tough decisions. Like Russell Wilson played really well. We want to play Dart. What do we do? Those are great problems to have. Great problems to have.
Yeah, that's something we could get. But day one, I'm not really buying it so much. Let me change my tune. Here's something I think is significant from day one. We knew that there was kind of like a battle between Deonte Banks and Cordell Flaw. We didn't know how real it was.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is the year where there's not these many position battles. Where usually on my notepad I have like, all right, who was the starter at these position battles? I didn't do that today. And then we look out, and I was like, the second play of team. I was like, wait a second, is Cordell Flaw out there? And I'm like, is he working nickel? No, Deonte Banks was on the sideline to start practice. They rotated, right? So it is a true battle. I think that's pretty significant. that, a guy they traded up from the first round, year 3. This isn't a vet, like a guy, a vet versus a rookie where they just give the vet the nod, the early part of camp and make the rookie prove it. Banks has to go out there and be a good player, not just an okay player, not just be the same level as Cordell Flott or slightly better than Cordell Flott. He's got to be a good player, and the Giants are going to make him prove that this year, and it's all up to him.
Yeah. What'd you see as far as, I know obviously we got, it's almost like a spring practice, and the fact shoulder pads weren't on and all, but I think everybody wants to hear about the pass rush. That's obviously the big thing we're all excited about to see. What, obviously, again, with what you can see, what you had there, what do you see as far as the pass rush?
Not much, because again, they're not shoulder pads. I will say, without Andrew Thomas out there, James Hudson, had a hard time handling Kayvon. Abdul Carter did a backflip. That was cool. Before practice, he got the biggest pop from the crowd. But Burns made a play or two. I didn't notice Carter, having this overwhelming day like people talked about in his OTA sessions. So we didn't see that. So it really didn't flash that. They're not doing that in one-on-one drills yet, but I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see how they try and deploy it as well, too, trying to get all those guys on the field at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I actually do want to ask you about Thibodeau, too, because it came out recently that he's been working with it in a wrestling room to finish takedowns, if you will. Like, how do you look like entering into, going to the quarterback? Like, did his steps look a little different? Like, did he seem like he was taking different stances as he's going in? I mean, it's day one.
I wasn't looking at the trenches too much, but again, he was making enough of an impact to do that. We always talk about and this is me too. I wanted Abdul Carter really badly and I got him, and I'm like, but that doesn't mean I want to trade Kayvon or get rid of Kayvon. And having 3 guys works. We, as Giants fans, we know that we've won Super Bowls like that. But it's 100%. Not necessarily the same situation as those guys either. And Kayvon Thibodeau, he can play the happy soldier. There's no way he's happy about they traded for Brian Burns and then drafted Abdul Carter the year after. Now he's being a good teammate and doing that, but he can't be just thrilled with that. He's again another guy who's got to go out there and prove it, right? Force them to put you on the field often, and not just be the third, a decent third rusher and a guy, because at the end of the day, he's a 5th overall pick. He's not a bad player, but he hasn't really lived up to that hype. He's someone who wants a new contract. There's a lot. Kayvon's kind of facing a huge year for him, where again he's up for a contract. He's could possibly be a backup while still being a good player. That'll be a messy contract situation to go through, when the easiest way to go through that is just Kayvon taking a step forward as a player, and then it's all right, pay him. You pay him. It's easy. Let's give him some big money.
Yep.
Yeah. And he's definitely got the physical ability, that's for sure. And it's definitely seems like it's just been feast or famine for him some games, but every so often he just makes this play too, and you're like, wow, that was a really smart football play. He's got it in him, and you see the glimpses, but yeah, definitely needs to be a little more consistent, that's for sure. Bobby, what do you see over at right guard? I'm hearing a few people. I know Jordan Ronan said he kind of seems like that position might be kind of up for grabs. What are you hearing as far as that from what you saw today?
Yeah, I was a little surprised. It seems like they're going to give Evan Neal a shot to win this job, where I thought Evan Neal was kind of fighting for, a backup spot almost. But they're letting him do this, and it's going to, when we get to those one-on-ones on Sunday, whenever they put those full pads on for the first time, I think how he does in those and that first preseason game is going to make a huge impact on what his spot in the roster is, where it could fluctuate from starter to second or third backup at the guard spot, where they could have, Aaron Stinney and Jake Kubas ahead of him. I think his spot on the depth chart can fluctuate a ton in this training camp, because he's the only guy who's new to the spot. So that's, I don't have all this faith in Evan Neal or even hope. But I am at least interested to see what he looks like.
All righty. So
yeah,
we're going to go to a new segment here. You're going to be our first person to do this segment, Bobby. We're going to give you a player's name. You got 30 seconds to give your quick thoughts on that player real quick. So we thought it'd be a fun little way here to get some extra thoughts on things besides just the training camp real quick. So I'm going to start her off real quick with a guy that we haven't mentioned at quarterback, Jameis Winston.
As advertised, he, in practice today, it's like, who are you throwing to? And then it's like, all right, he just threw a ball up for little Jordan Humphrey, and he made the play. I think he knows what he is. He's there to make aggressive throws, and that's it. As a backup, it's fun. If he ever has to start more than like 3 games in a row, I'm not going to be having as much fun as people say they do when they watch Jameis.
Fair enough. JMS.
Be above average. You don't need to be great. Be above average. If you're above average, you're a player we can bring back on a reasonable deal. If you're below average, then we're looking to upgrade from you in the very near immediate future. I like JMS coming out of Minnesota, and he just hasn't lived up to what we thought he would be.
We were huge on him. I still can't believe it's
big fall from grace.
Speaking of wrestling, it's like, draft the wrestlers at O-line, and then the one who doesn't pan out the way you thought it ends up being JMS.
Breaks my heart.
Javon Holland.
He needs to create turnovers. You can't just be a good safety when you get that contract and when you're brought to a new team. Get turnovers. 1 interception over the last 2 years, and that being a Hail Mary from our friend Tim Boyle. Got to be more than that, because if he is what he's been the last 2 years, it's a good player. It's an upgrade. It's not what the Giants signed up for. So he needs to become more of a playmaker.
You hit him on a little brief before, but Cordell Flott.
You might have just stumped me. I don't know what to think of Cordell Flott, where it's like he switched between nickel and outside. He's super skinny. He can't really play run defense. He's not terrible in coverage. He has some like nice moments, but he also, when he's targeted often, he just doesn't really perform. And now he's battling with Deonte Banks. I guess he describes the perfect backup corner. He could play both positions. He's not that, the perfect backup corner is how I describe Cordell Flott. So hopefully Deonte Banks wins that job so Flott can fill that role.
So it's funny. Whenever we mention Cordell Flott, I still think of this the story on draft night. Because that's before Rob and I started our show, and I was watching you, and you're flipping out. Like, I do all this goddamn work, and it's Cordell Flott. I had a 5th round grade of this guy.
That draft was nuts. Like you said, you do all this prep, and then it's like, I don't know who this guy is. Like, what the hell is going? Like, damn it! Like, I want to give the listeners informed information, and I'm just sitting here just like you guys. I don't know who this is.
Yeah, we every year it happens with somebody. So like we do like about 150 players we'll scout before every single draft, with I think it's more than most shows do even.
I know. So, Joe Shane's made it easy though, because he only drafts top 30 visits. So this year, because of the wedding and then the new show stuff, I was the most unprepared I've ever been for a draft. Had all the Giants draft picks because it was just Giants top 30 visits.
All right, yeah, one more each then. Bobby's got to head on out there. He's got to get a little sleep for next day on training camp here. Wan'Dale Robinson.
Ooh, that was mine too.
He is what he is. He's a slot wide receiver. I don't believe that he has this big downfield threat that's being held back by the quarterbacks that they've had over the last couple of years. I think he is what he is. I think he'll benefit from a deep passing attack because it'll give him more space underneath, not because he's going to be getting these 30, 40, 50-yard plays. If he was this amazing yak threat, I think he would have made more yak plays. He's a good yak player, but he's not this amazing yak player that's being held back because a ball was thrown on the 1 on his jersey instead of the 7. So he is what he is. He's a slot player. He can get some more options down the field, but I don't know how his production will be, but it'll be interesting to see how he can do with more space underneath.
Yeah, we always talk about depth target with him. 3.8 yards depth target last year. That's not enough. That's difficult, especially when you're in the middle. You got everybody around.
I don't want it to be high either, but it's like you said, 3.8.
Even get a 5 or 6. That would be a huge difference.
It wouldn't be like bottom 5 in the NFL, but what last year was ridiculous.
Yeah. All right, Rob, take us home. We're a little past our time with them, so go quick.
Oh, jeez. All right.
You got me spot.
You put me right in the spot. All right. Well, boss.
I took yours. I took yours.
You did take mine.
And then I put you on the spot.
Let's go high. Let's go high.
Hyatt, I'm not buying the hype. He didn't get any first team reps. He's not a good receiver. He's fast. So when he does catch passes, it's exciting because they're down the field, but he's just not a good receiver. Really, the only time you throw to him is as an alert. You can't put him in the front of progressions because he's going to be in the wrong place because he can't get off press. He's not sharp, so you can't put him in the slot. Russ is a great fit for him, but in reality, I think he's a max 500-yard guy in the NFL, max.
I'm thinking 300. I'd be happy at this point.
Yeah, again, that's me being optimistic.
Let's break 100. Let's break 100 even. Let's do it. We can do it.
Yeah.
Get one touchdown. That's all we're asking. All righty. Well, Bobby, like I said, we're gonna let you go, man. I know you got to get ready for a big day tomorrow there again as well. Appreciate you having coming on the show there. Appreciate you always supporting the show as well. Definitely much appreciated. Do me a favor before we let you go. Let everybody know where they can find, especially if maybe somebody doesn't know too much on the new show you have there the last couple months there. Let everybody know where they can find your stuff there.
Yeah, I had a few people today. It's like, oh, I didn't know you had a new show. It's just Giants Nation Show. You search that, it should show up. Enjoying some time in Jersey. Dude, I love Florida. Want to live in Florida for the rest of my life. It is nice to get 2 weeks out of the humidity up here. So, we'll be at training camp, all that good stuff. And appreciate you guys. And again, congrats on the milestone.
No, I appreciate it. And we're going to put also in the chat, we're going to put the link to Bobby's new channel as well. So anybody who hasn't found it yet, by all means, go there, subscribe. If you don't, shame on you.
Shame on
All right, Bobby, again, appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, guys. See ya.
Have a good one, man. Thank you.
All righty. Now they're stuck with us schlubs over here.
We went from 3 goofballs to 2 goofballs.
All right, guys. So we do got a little bit more than just the camp to talk about as well. We got a brand new Giant. We got a story about the jersey number of Jaxson Dart. Jersey number and rookies has been a thing all year long. And also we have Joe Schoen talking about his plans here for the rest of this camp and all. And we also have another Giant retired. How many freaking Giants are going to retire this week? It's usually weird. Usually we talk about ex-Giants that are now succeeding elsewhere. Now it's ex-Giants that are just retiring elsewhere.
Well, listen, they're still only so long that they'll be in the league. And listen, if they're retiring elsewhere, that means they had enough.
Yeah. And we also there was a trade rumor that started up as well because of an injury elsewhere. So we're going to talk briefly about that as well, guys, for you. So let's get right into with the newest Giant here, the latest, greatest. Got that shiny new Giant smell there at that point. The Giants added safety Kevon Wallace, who you guys may remember him because he was a Philadelphia Eagle for a while there. So we've seen him in New York. We've seen him playing against the Giants. We're at least somewhat familiar with him before the Giants even signed him because of that. Still just 27 years old, 5'11", 205 pounds. He was a 4th-round pick for the Eagles there back in 2020 out of Clemson. For his career, 71 games, 19 starts. Last year he had 9 games, 15 tackles with the Seahawks there. Season ended early because of an ankle injury. Now, it's funny, Rob, was it like a week or two ago we said, wait a minute, we don't have like a legit 4th safety on this roster. Like, watch the Giants bring somebody in.
Yep.
Maybe we know what we're talking about just a little bit.
We may have needed someone a little extra there. A little extra fluff, And
if that's the role Wallace has, it's a good role for him because he's a guy who does provide special teams there. So he's 127 snaps on defense, 139 on special teams there, as we lost Rob here momentarily. So he does play both defense and special teams. So that's always, a good thing to have as somebody who's a backup. He's got a few years in the league. He does have a little bit of starting experience. Go back 2 years ago, he had started 12 games actually. So this is a guy who does have, like I said, some decent experience in the league. Again, for a 4th safety kind of guy. But I just like the fact that Joe Schoen is still adding on when he sees a need to add on. Anthony Johnson Jr. was waived waived is the injury designation, so you'll see him as just waived / injured on the waiver wire there. But he is no longer a Giant. It's the corresponding move to go ahead and get Wallace onto the roster there. But like I said, welcome Wallace, the newest New York Giant there. So real quick there, we're going to go ahead and pay the bills. And then we got a couple more, like I said, segments to go over. And that way gives Rob a chance to pop back in there. So it looks like he was having a little bit of connection issues there for you guys.
Thanks for watching. Like the show? Of course you do, or you would have turned it off by now and not be hearing me. There are plenty of ways to support the show. YouTube is the best place to join us, and we offer memberships there with fun benefits like custom emojis and early access to video clips. Of course, there you can also send super chats and stickers to send one-time support payments. The best way to support the show is to buy these drunk idiots beers at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Along with one-time support payments, there are also monthly plans, so you can continue to help kill their livers each month. You can also show people that you are a goofball by visiting our store at 2giantgoofballs-shop.fourthwall.com. We got everything from shirts, hats, phone cases, funny candles, buttons, stickers, and even a 2 Giant Goofballs towel to dry off your goofballs. Of course, you can always support the show for free by simply hitting the like, subscribe, and share button wherever you are watching or listening to this. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps the show tremendously, and quite frankly, the Goofballs suck at marketing and need your help to get the word out. Thank you for being part of the Goofball Army and for taking the time out to support the show.
All righty, guys. Well, we got him back here. There he is. Rob is back. Back again.
Back.
Tell a friend. Tell them to subscribe while they're at it.
Yeah. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Please tell a friend.
All right, guys. So, yeah, Joe Shane also did talk to reporters about his plans for the rest of training camp and the rest of the offseason overall as a whole there. He said once the preseason starts and there's other games again, there's going to be roughly 1,200 to 1,300 players cut that Labor Day weekend. So the pro staff did a fabulous job led by Chris Rossetti, Brandon Brown, Tim McDonald, Dennis Hickey, and they do a great job canvassing the entire league, and we divvy up the league, and they're in charge of teams as if they were the GMs of the team. So whether it's trade candidates, whether it's cap casualties, injuries that you're talking about, we will track all that stuff. Now, first off, I would love if there was a way to keep track of who had what team, to know who we got from where, to kind of figure out some of these guys, because we've gotten a good, I feel like a decent amount of like waiver wire kind of guys, the Isaiah Hodgins kind of players that have kind of popped on and provided something to this team. So would love to know who had which teams and which years and all that kind of stuff. He goes on to say, from a roster procurement standpoint, we're third in the claiming order. So this will be a big preseason for us in terms of when players are released during that time. If the first two teams don't claim a player, now it comes to us. And we've had some success claiming some players since we've been here at we will call it the second draft, that time of year. It's a busy time of the year. First off, thank God Joe Shane explained to us how being third in the waiver wire works. That means we're the third team. I would have no clue.
It's amazing.
I love when they oversimplify things for no apparent reason. He says, it's a lot of players to work through, a lot of film to watch. We will evaluate that. And then as Daves was just talking about, there are injuries and the roster may look different a week from now because of injuries. We made a transaction yesterday bringing Kevon Wallace. There are injuries. You're trying to keep everybody fresh. So we need everybody out there on the field to take the reps. We've got an emergency list that's ready to go if a player gets hurt at a certain position. We have workouts during this time. It's a busy time of the year, but it's fun. It's great. We're glad to be back to work and excited for this season. Am I the one a little scared that he called it like the second draft?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's a little crazy. A second draft? No, you should be drafting well enough. You don't need a second draft.
That's an issue.
Like, I get the picking up players because of injury, and I love that he's got an emergency list there, and I'm sure that's probably, normal protocol for most GMs. They probably have one ready to go. I'm not trying to say he's exclusive in that, but it's just interesting to call it a second draft to me. It's like our roster's been so bad we have to pick up players some other teams don't want. Like. And we want these people. Like, no, you shouldn't want
Draft
these people.
that.
These are the people that point blank got kicked off other teams because they weren't as good as the other people they had. That's not the people you should be excited about bringing in.
They're kicking them out because of the draft that they just had. That
Yes.
they're like, we don't need these people.
Yes.
Dominus.
But like I said, we'll see what happens. It's kind of weird that he's excited about the idea of picking up more players. That just find it weird. Like, if you're so excited, maybe you should have picked up some more players during the offseason prior to this.
Yeah. You're literally getting like second and third and fourth leftovers.
Yeah, exactly.
At this point, it's stale.
Yeah. It's like the bread left on the counter. Not good. Not good, guys. All right, let's get into the jersey talk. Rookies have been an issue with jersey numbers basically ever since the draft started. Obviously, Abdul Carter, having his issues, wanting LT's number, wanting Phil Simms' number, wanting basically every number he couldn't have until he eventually settled there on 51. Ironically enough, taking Azeez Ojulari's old number, who he basically is kind of somewhat replaced. Jaxson Dart, the big thing with him was what number it was he going to play, because his number is literally being worn by Russell Wilson. He's not going to give it up, obviously.
No.
It's built his whole brand around numbers and weird catchphrases and creeping people out and that kind of stuff. So, not going to happen. So he did go to number 6 during rookie camp. We weren't sure 100% what was going to happen there. Jamie Gillan, the Scottish Hammer himself, has been number 6 leading up to this year. So officially it was announced today that Jamie Gillan has changed to number 12. So that leads the way for Jaxson Dart just to keep number 6 the entire way. And, I haven't heard anything in kind of trade. I don't know if there was a trade of, money, goods, present, of whatever. I mean, you hear stories about players literally handing over cars to get phone numbers. Yeah, jersey numbers. So it's like, that's it's weird because you think about it that way. You're like, okay, well, he just gave up like a $60,000 item. Well, that's nothing to guys who are making $20 million a year, but it's still kind of crazy. But we haven't heard anything as far as any kind of trade being made or anything like that. It sounds like Jamie Gillan may have just given up the phone number. I say your phone number, jersey number. I don't know. He probably has phone number too. I don't know, but
possibly. but
it's classy if he did that.
Yeah, I say he knows his role. Like, he knows like he's not going to be the future star of this team. Jamie Gillan. So like to give up the number 6 to take 12, that's a classy move. Like, it's nice.
Yeah, it is. And let us not forget that he originally went to Deonte Banks and tried to get his number 3 that, his number 2 that, he wanted, which when he wore in college, before Deonte Banks gave up number 3. Then there was talks about him taking number 3. And then obviously Russell Wilson, like I said, has that once that killed that. And before he finally set it on 12, but he said Deonte Banks told him he basically gave an offer that was too much. So Banks didn't play, even though Banks has never played number 2, by the way, until this year. So I don't know why that's an issue for Banks all of a sudden not wanting to give up a number he's had for a month.
Huh.
That doesn't make much sense. But again, kudos to the classy guy, Jamie Gillan.
To the
who, at the very least, must have given him a much more reasonable offer to take the number, if not just flat out just gave it to him. We don't know which one, so I don't want to assume either way. But either way, classy move. All right, let's talk about the next ex-Giant has retired. We talked about Ellerson Smith retired this week. Richie James has retired this week. Now, Carter has retired. Not Abdul Carter. He's still with us. Don't worry. He's going to play at least one game in his career.
Hopefully.
Lorenzo Carter, who obviously are a 3rd-round pick out of Georgia back in 2018, who's still just 29 years old, by the way, guys. It sounds so weird to hear 29 years old. I'm retiring. I'm done. Like,
I wish I could have retired 10 years ago.
Seriously, sign me up, man. Though I also wish I could have made them kind of money these guys have made too. So that's a good part of it there as well. So obviously played 4 years with us on his rookie deal, went over to Atlanta, played the last 3 years with them. This year had signed up with the Titans, but I guess, just doesn't want to do it anymore, or he maybe saw the writing on the wall. He wasn't going to have a spot there and decided to just kind of walk away. I mean, man has made almost $18 million in his career. So, assuming he was smart with his money, he should be good to go. But he's what he was. He's a backup edge rusher who, we talk about always during the draft. There's guys who are physically talented that have all the tools possible, don't necessarily have the football IQ and can't put it together and can't get it going. And there's the guys who are the reverse and have all the football IQ in the world, but don't have necessarily the physical skills. Carter was definitely in that first part of the category. And to be clear, I'm not calling him dumb when I say low football IQ. I'm just saying it just doesn't it didn't click for some reason. And he was a top prospect coming out of high school. He was a top prospect, where Georgia was excited, thought they were going to get like a great, edge rusher, and he just never developed into one in college. So I was always shocked when people were like, "Oh, well, he's gonna be a really good pro. Watch the coaches fix him." And go, how many coaches have tried to fix this guy? I always said when it was him. Yeah, great physical talent, just couldn't put it together on the field. But still made $13 million. Still got 7 years in the NFL, which is twice as long as the average person. So he can hang his hat high. There is nothing to be embarrassed about with that kind of career. That's for damn sure.
Listen, and he made like generational wealth, so he's good. Same with his kids.
Yeah, should again, assuming he did as far as that. Hopefully he did. All right, guys, we got one more topic to talk about because there's a little bit of a rumor. Rumor has it.
Rumor has it.
So Will Levis is officially out for the year. Had to have a shoulder surgery there. He's out for the year now. And there's been talks about the Titans potentially going after someone to be a backup quarterback for them. Now, left on their roster, Tim Boyle, who we all know because he's been on like every single team in the league basically and been bad at them all, including the Jets not too long ago, and Brandon Allen, who also has yet to show he can do anything impressive whatsoever in the NFL, basically. So literally, you got your number one overall pick, a guy that you're literally, hoping is going to be the face of the franchise in Cam Ward. And you got a guy there behind him, two guys who just haven't done anything. You have no leadership whatsoever in that QB room. And to be very frank, you could have made this comment before Will Levis was gone, by the way. At least Will Levis was better than these guys.
Yeah.
Even with the whole mayo in the coffee thing and everything, which is still just weird. But there's been the talks of they may go out for a backup quarterback. And when you look at teams around the league that would want to potentially get rid of a backup quarterback, there's two teams that come to mind. And Jay, I saw you in the comments. They're talking about Kenny Pickett there. The Browns are definitely one of them. They got Flacco. They got, the two rookies, obviously, and they got Pickett. There's one man that's going to be the odd man out. The other one that comes to mind, people, is the New York Giants. Weird position. The Giants are at a surplus at quarterback.
Especially after the past few seasons, because we had half of one serviceable one.
Yeah. It's been a while since we've been of his hate. The Giants are at a surplus at quarterback, but you got Russell Wilson, who's not going anywhere, obviously. You got Jaxson Dart, who's also not going anywhere. You got Jameis Winston, who I don't think should go anywhere. And you got Tommy DeVito, who may go somewhere on his own accord. So there is the four guys there. All with NFL experience.
Yeah. And DeVito also may not go anywhere just because he likes just being the guy.
He had to do it out of his mom's house, probably, if that happened.
Yeah.
Unless he plays for the Jets, he can't live at home anymore. And have any more big ZD and all. But I mean, like, all seriousness though, those guys would represent a potential upgrade for these, And Kenny Pickett of the Browns, as Jay says, is one of them. But Jameis Winston is definitely an upgrade. And you could make the case that Tommy DeVito is at the very least on par with those guys, if not an upgrade.
Yeah. So the question is this: do the Giants want to separate from Winston? Which I don't think that's the case.
No.
Like we listened to Bobby earlier, Dart looks like a rookie, and he looks like he needs to sit, which was the initial plan. And if you're going to do right by Dart, you don't get rid of Winston.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I like it's that simple.
To me, you want to bring as much quarterback, tutelage in when you have a rookie quarterback. You got those two guys in Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, who both can bring a lot of experience and can help him along. It's not our job to fix the Titans' mistakes.
Nope.
Like the Titans point blank should have brought I'll say this again, before they even brought in, this conversation because of what happened with Will Levis. There should have been the conversation of, hold on a second here. We don't have much in this quarterback room. We want to teach this kid. We want to give this a chance to succeed. I know we got coaches, but most people want to have like a mentor that they can actually look up to and say, I remember watching you play 5 years ago, like the Joe Flacco kind of guy, the Andy Dalton kind of guy. Like there's a reason people do this consistently with young quarterbacks. It's a proven method of success.
Yep.
Now, there's many factors. So it's not a guarantee. Oh, you got Andy Dalton. You're going to be successful now. Like, obviously, it's not that simple. But, you have this situation here where you're setting him up with Will Levis, the guy he's replacing because he sucked, Tim Boyle, and Brandon Allen. That was a stupid move by the Titans, point blank. And just because they made that stupid move doesn't mean the Giants have to undo their smart moves. It sounds so weird to say smart moves for the Giants, but it was smart to set him up with multiple people because you don't have to force out, Jaxson Dart when he's not ready. You heard, Bobby talking earlier about Jaxson Dart did not look good today, guys. And again, I don't want to overact in one day, but we've said from the get-go, he needs time. He's not ready. There's no doubt in our mind he's not ready. So we need to go ahead and give him a chance to succeed. And you can't give him that chance to succeed if you're throwing him out there.
No. He's the guy that you looked at, but he has the talent, he has the smarts, but does he have the discipline right now? He does not. And you throw him into the deep end and try to figure out how to swim doesn't work for everyone. And it's not the case. Like he needs time to, sit behind a couple quarterbacks for a year, maybe two. Listen, we got Russ for 1 year. We got Winston for 2. Like it just makes sense not to get rid of Winston, especially like if you want to put Dart in year 2 and something happens, you still got a very serviceable backup quarterback.
Yes. And a guy who's been, by all accounts, a good teammate by everybody who's ever played with him and, a good guy to learn from in that regard. And I think the big thing for me is also you got to look at what are you going to get? Like, let's be very frank here for a minute. What would you get if you traded Jameis Winston? Let's just say hypothetically you trade Jameis Winston.
You're probably not going to get much. So like they would have to, maybe maybe a 6th.
And is that worth getting rid of a guy who could be at least a part of a mentorship behind your rookie quarterback and a guy that you signed for 2 years because if everything works out as planned, Jaxson Dart is starting next year. You have a guy now that's still a competent backup next year on a very reasonable deal, by the way. I just feel like it doesn't make any sense. The only guy I would look at trading is Tommy DeVito. And that's if he wants to go, by the way. I would give him that kind of conversation. Like, listen, you're at here. You're number 4. Like, you're not making it barring any injury out of camp on this roster unless, you clear waivers and you can pop up on the practice squad again. Do you want to go to Tennessee and have a chance?
100%.
And that's a respect move. It's not a move of anything else but respect. Because there is no way in hell that he's going to be, go ahead and get there. But here's the thing there. Again, like I said, you have to talk about what are you going to get for him?
Exactly. And what's going to happen is we're going to put Tommy DeVito down to, number 4, down in the practice squad. And he's just going to get picked off. Like, if no one's going to trade for him, he's just going to be like, hey.
And like I said, we're going to get a 7th round pick for DeVito. Like, honestly, and I'm not trying to be mean about it. Like, he's not a good quarterback. He's got at least a little bit of experience because he's played with a bad team the last couple of years, us, where he's got a chance to play a little bit.
Hey, listen, he won games with a bad team.
He did. And that's why I'm saying I do think he's up there, if not an upgrade over Tim Boyle and Brandon Allen. But I just don't think you're going to get anything beyond like a 7th round pick. And you know what? It might be one of those scenarios where you give up a 7th round pick and they give you a 6th round pick, and all we get to do is move up like 1 round.
Yeah.
Like that might be where we're at. But you know what? If he wants to do that, I'd have no problem doing that for DeVito, just out of respect for the man and what he's done the last couple of years for him. Let's not forget the good story he was in 23, and we didn't have a lot of good stories in that year or last year or most years.
Yeah.
But like I said, if he wants to go, I'm never a fan of holding people hostage like that, unless it's somebody who's like a really, really good player that they can deal. Like somebody like Dexter Lawrence comes in and wants trade requests. Like, oh, sorry, that sucks to be you. You're under contract.
Yeah. Listen, here's your contract you signed right here.
Yeah, but again, I don't think we'd really get anything for him. And I think if we did a move like that, it literally would be for Tommy DeVito's benefit much more than the Giants.
Yeah,
maybe I'm just being a softie by saying something like that. Like give the kid a chance if you want, because I just feel
you are being a softie, because at the end of the day, like what's going to happen is the Giants are not going to leave him on the roster.
Nope.
And he's just going to be there to just whatever team wants him to pick him off. Or
nobody takes him and he goes back to their practice squad.
Yep.
And that's the crazy thing about it. And I just feel like I could, if I was him, I'm trying to put myself into Tommy DeVito's shoes for a second. Having some big ziti.
The gabagoo.
I'm watching The Sopranos, and I'm going, I'm in a crappy situation for myself. I have not a single shot of making this team, barring any kind of injury. Like, that's not a good place to be.
No, you don't want to be on a squad and be like, oh, you get hurt. Oh, you get hurt. Now I can start.
Yeah.
That's also not a good mindset either.
And like I said, I'd love to keep him around for the practice squad and go, you know what? Okay, Russ gets hurt. Jameis Winston, you go in. Tommy DeVito, you're now the backup. And Dart, still hold that clipboard.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that'd be perfect for the Giants from a business standpoint. But from a DeVito standpoint, I can see it from that way. But like I said, Winston, I'm not giving up him no matter what.
No.
Not going to do it. I still think he's a very good backup. And again, like Bobby said earlier, you can put him in for probably 3-4 games. It'd be an entertaining 3-4 games, and you'd have a chance to win all those games. You'd have a chance to lose as well, but you'd have a chance to win.
Go either way.
That's what he is.
It could be a blowout, close game, or a blowout.
Yeah. You never know what you're gonna get. Life is like a box of chocolates.
Life's like a box of James Winston's. Like 5 touchdowns, 5 picks, pick in the middle.
All righty, guys. Well, this is gonna call it a night for us here. Again, episode 500, guys. Episode 500.
500.
Yes. And again, we appreciate everybody. Listen, guys, if you haven't already, do me a favor. It's our 500th podcast. We're going to ask, and let's be honest, we ask it every episode, so I'm not going to say we don't, but we're going to ask here. We have literally 431 people right now watching live. Most of y'all are over on Twitter. Pop over to YouTube real quick, please. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. That's definitely the preferred platform, we always say. But like I said, it's a nice platform for content creators. We always say it's the preferred one for that reason. They quite frankly pay content creators better than every other platform out there. So like I always say, if you want to support a content creator, go give them a like and follow and subscribe on YouTube there specifically. But again,
ring that bell. Bing.
Oh, but again, we do want to again thank you guys for watching, for listening. Like I said, I know we've seen some people in here that are regulars. I see there, Deb, CJ, see it, Mac the Giants fan. By the way, Mac the Giants fans, hit us up on Twitter or Facebook or one of those things. Since you can't do that on YouTube, that's the one thing you can't do on YouTube.
Yeah,
hit us up on the
social.
We do want to talk to you about something there. But again, I just want to thank everybody who's been part of this. Like I said, it's we started this off. It'll be 3 years in August, so we'll have a podversary, and I'll probably be all sappy then as well. But
It's a positive first.
Started off. We literally got, I think, the first month we were getting like 5 or 6 listeners, and that's it. We're like, what the hell, you know? And like I said, here we are on the road with 436 people right now watching live. So you know, it's been a fun ride. 500 episodes in. I can't wait for 500 more. Rob, got to thank you as well. Not just I'm going to thank you as well.
Oh, thank you, Drew.
No, seriously. Like, it wouldn't be fun without having someone to do this with to a certain degree. Because listen, you and I both have done solo shows, but let's be honest, it's not as fun doing a solo at that point, you know. So you know, I appreciate you doing this with me for this run of 500 episodes, and hopefully many, many more to come here.
And Drew, thank you, my dude, because it's been a fun 3 years, and let's go for a lot longer, man.
Yeah. Jesus, you sound like the Cal Ripken retirement speech, LOL. No, because our Iron Man streak is not breaking. Listen, guys, we have done 3 episodes every single week. Every single week.
From the get-go.
We've had vacations. I've been out of the country even. And we've done shows. Like that's the level of craziness and, you know, masochism that Rob and I share. Like we just do that. No weeks off, no vacations like that. At that point, if one of us is down, whatever, the other person just does it. That's the way we've always done it, guys. And like I said, we wouldn't be able to do without y'all watching, listening, because quite frankly, we would have got frustrated and stopped a long time ago, probably at that point. So
most likely.
So again, guys, as always, we are live on YouTube. Again, the preferred platform there. Twitter/X, whatever the hell you want to call it. Facebook, Twitch, and of course, Rob's favorite, and of course, as always, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms: Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all the big ones there. So again, guys, if you haven't already, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that share button. Appreciate you guys for watching. We will be back again tomorrow for episode 501. 501. I thought you were going to start a Chris Young song.
501.
Okay. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys for watching as always. And as always, Giant fans.
Thank you, J-Man. Go J-Man. Thank you, 500 team.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.